The police found the fool unaware of what happened. Sweet talk failed, so they yanked him into the car. Although Mom rushed out as fast as a cheetah, she couldn't catch the speeding police car. After a good sprint, the distance just kept growing. "Mom, you're such a wonderful person." She stood completely frozen in shock. Concern filled her eyes while her limbs seemed glued to the ground. She tried her hardest, but couldn't pick up the pace, while the fool slowly raised. Blood trickled from his nose into the corner of his mouth. After looking around in confusion, he considered trying to open the car door, listening to the cop drone on like a dull lecture. The fool looked blank. Grasping the cop, a strange smile crept on his lips as Mom squeezed in. Pressing face to glass, Mom was anxious outside as he leisurely played with the handcuffs. To everyone's surprise, he laughed again. The cop took off his jacket, the fool his pants. Legal questioning turned into a farce. At that moment, it turned hilarious. Seeing the fool's fear, the cop decided to teach him a lesson, taking him to the car. "You ask," the fool complied, chomping down on an apple like he was at a carnival, then spun around. Then he closed his eyes on cue. "See anything?" "No, right." After giving the fool a little scare tactic, he started flexing again, mixing in some threats, telling the fool to spill his beans. It's all very intimidating. The fool couldn't do it, and confessed to his mother, "I don't dare." That's how it went. And he kept insisting, "This is how it is." After a whole scare, the sheriff waltzed in, questioning from morning till night. They knew every little thing the fool did, but the kicker was still that ride home after drinking. "The reason why fools are called fools is due to functional deficiencies in their brains." He struggled to recall the past, inadvertently twisting his mouth into an unusual and odd angle. But he thought and couldn't recall a single thing. At this point, the police pulled out the evidence. A golf ball intended for the bar owner has transformed into evidence, bearing the fool's name, conclusive proof now in the sheriff's possession. Now all they needed was a motive for murder. He sweet-talked the fool, hoping to squeeze out some intel, much as he would approach any regular criminal. Cops need motives, but any seemed plausible for the fool, underestimated since childhood. Seen as an oddball, the term murder felt like an honor to him. He just didn't get the whole rulebook. But he still pressed down on the fingerprint pad. "Did you hurt? The cops really roughed you up, huh?" The fool's gaze was mischievous, still sporting that devilish grin. He pretended to be tough to avoid being underestimated. Mom believed him innocent, urging deep breaths together. Think back on that night. Everyone says in dead. He'd never felt this confident before because nobody in prison called him a fool. With the title of murderer, he basked in the fearful stares. He should say, "I killed him, right? If he's dead, say I'm the one who killed him. Was it really me? Are you crazy? Of course not. What are you saying, you idiot?" Sergeant just stepped out, and Mom was right behind him, demanding to be heard. Without hesitation, she plopped down in the back. "Kid, don't tell anyone." "How could you do this?" Mom thought the station coerced a confession, pleading with the sheriff for another chance while he saw earnestness in her eye. It was uncomfortably revealing. Mom removed her hat, pulling out her go-to performance enhancer. Yet the sheriff only seemed as he felt disdain. The evidence was solid. The fool's prints were on record. The sheriff couldn't help. Either it was too late, it was a lost cause. Mom looked like a zombie with her soul lost, her eyes dim and lifeless. A tear slid down her cheek without her realizing it. At the scene, Mom's mother was watching him too. Watching him, just watching him. As tears continued to slip, the scene was crowded. Everyone was eager to see what the murderer looked like. The fool walked through the crowd escorted by police, feeling the weight of attention like never before, while Mom waved up high. The fool couldn't care less and searched through the crowd until he finally spotted a familiar figure, waving in disappointment. Then he took off his mask. Here, it's me." Under the direction of the cops. The fool reenacted the scene of the crime, but the repeated falls were puzzling. Mom and friends were rushing through the crowd, distributing innocence flyers for the fool, mocked by some. Mom pleaded hastily after returning from the scene. She immediately rushed to the funeral, where the girl had only one grandmother, and the wake was full of their neighbors. Why was that guy even here? The murderer's mother at the funeral, though easily provoked, pushed her son's innocence on everyone. Her words were heartfelt, yet screamed with this sense of hysteria. The girl's grandmother heard the ruckus outside and set down her granddaughter's portrait. Splashing some rice wine, she marched towards the commotion, while the mother was shoved outside, and a scuffle broke out. Feeling the noise, Grandma shook her bottle of rice wine. The tussle continued, pushing Mom further away. "You jerk. Act like a barbarian." Grandma downed the last of her rice wine. As if unfazed by her granddaughter's death, to Grandma, the girl was just a tool like a bottle for her rice wine. She walked out of the funeral. Mom opened her mirror, fingers gliding, lips enhanced. The lawyer's plate was piled with fish chunks. A giant fish trailed behind, with 2 tomatoes rolling on the plate. He could balance it all when trying to charm. The man, the country's most expensive lawyer, made Mom feel confident. Seeing her son looking foolish, he hurried to the glass.